In the coming week on Coronation Street, Theo finally reveals his real nature to Todd, Costello ends up the victim of a violent assault, Summer suddenly collapses during a visit to Asha, and the future of Swarla hangs in the balance.
No one. Becky turns the tables on Costello.
At the Swarla home, Becky's mission to drive a wedge between Lisa and Carla looks ready to finally pay off next week. Her insistence that old foes have resurfaced since she left witness protection has resulted in her hanging around number 6 more and more with Lisa and Betsy. Whether those supposed pursuers are actually real or simply another part of Becky's manipulation is still unclear, but D.I. Costello has been issuing his own threats, desperate to erase the leverage Becky has over his corrupt policing past. So far, Becky has refused to cave to Costello's orders to head back to Spain, unwilling to leave without Lisa and her daughter, causing rising hostility between them. Next week, Becky arrives at number 6 in a panic, telling Lisa and Betsy she's received a funeral wreath with the chilling message, "Rest in peace again," attached. While Betsy immediately spirals into fear for her mom's well-being, Becky marches straight to Costello, declaring that whoever sent it means business, and that she's determined to discover who is responsible. Later at the precinct, Becky quietly takes photos of a cluster of teenage girls in the playground. Her intentions become clear when Costello later checks his phone and finds images of his daughter Lacey. Though visibly rattled, Costello puts on a show of confidence in front of Kit, who has arrived for an interview regarding a potential promotion to detective sergeant. As Kit steps out of the office, Costello answers a call from Becky, and Kit lingers outside the door, unable to ignore the strain in Costello's tone.
"Hey, has Costello got his comeuppance?"
Later in the week, with Lisa scheduled to meet Carla for lunch, Becky takes advantage of the opportunity. When a startled Lisa discovers Becky collapsed and seemingly drunk in the street, she brings her back to the house to sober her up. Becky claims she's been drinking to dull the pain of feeling like her life has completely fallen apart. Once she's cleaned up, Becky wanders downstairs wearing Lisa's robe, right as Carla turns up, already annoyed at being left waiting. The sight freezes Carla in her tracks. She explodes in anger and orders Becky to get out immediately. Lisa's moment of hesitation about kicking Becky out only fuels Carla's frustration, leaving her questioning whether their relationship is on the verge of collapsing. Elsewhere, Kit becomes suspicious when Costello doesn't show up for his shift, and the station is rocked when news eventually comes through that Costello has been violently assaulted.
No. 3. Carla calls time on her and Lisa's relationship.
Kit delivers the update to Lisa about Costello's attack, and when he suggests Becky might have had a hand in it, will Lisa believe what he's implying? At the same time, Carla, already emotionally worn down, hits breaking point with Becky and concludes she can't continue like this. She calls Lisa aside and calmly states that their romance is finished, leaving Lisa stunned and reeling. Could this truly be the final chapter for Swarla?
Note 4. Theo brutally attacks Todd.
Elsewhere on the street, Todd is far from pleased when Theo publicly announces that the two of them will be running a half marathon together. Still fuming over being strong-armed into the idea, Todd continues to moan about the upcoming race, but Theo won't budge. He insists the training plan is for Todd's benefit and casually mentions they'll be heading out again later for another session, giving Todd virtually no space to object. Later, when Todd asks if Pete has been in touch since their recent meal, Theo effortlessly lies, saying Pete has been dodging his calls. Sarah soon uncovers the real story when she spots Pete and Theo acting far too comfortable with each other as they climb into a van. She taps on the window, demanding an explanation. Cornered, Theo confesses that he and Pete have signed a deal and that he's putting together a surprise for Todd. Pete's snide remark comparing Sarah to a guard dog comes at the worst moment, just as Todd walks up and sees her confronting the pair. Mortified, Todd quickly pulls Sarah away, while Theo silently fumes at yet another one of Todd's friends getting involved. As with Billy before, Theo's instinct is to isolate Todd from Sarah. I don't think he's planning it in advance, James Cartwright tells us. It's more like, you're around Todd too much, so I need you out of the picture. There is a goal to cut Todd off from people, but it's not some elaborate plot. It just pops into his head in the moment, and he handles it in whatever way suits him, like most narcissists do. With controlling partners, men or women, isolation is a common tactic. They know that's their leverage. The thought of losing Todd terrifies Theo, so he clings harder, and that's where the coercive behavior begins. Later in the week, Theo drags out a floor-length mirror and tells Todd he can now monitor his body every day. Todd trudges home exhausted after yet another brutal run, only for James to turn up offering playful encouragement. Stung by the attention, Theo instantly retaliates by sending Todd back out for an additional lap. When James later shows up with new workout equipment for Todd and insists on demonstrating it, Theo's jealousy almost spills over. The moment James leaves, Theo accuses Todd of having feelings for him. Todd denies it, but Theo's rage erupts and he grabs Todd as his fury breaks through with frightening consequences. It's another step up, and it's both startling and terrifying for Todd, James adds. Theo completely loses control when he can't articulate what he's feeling. He's incapable of expressing himself properly, so his frustration explodes, and he becomes incredibly unpredictable to be around. Will Carl's interference cause Debbie to quit? Over at Chariot Square, Carl ramps up his manipulation of his sister Debbie, continuing to exploit her early-onset dementia diagnosis. With Debbie returning to work after her holiday with Ronnie, Carl quietly stamps an unpaid invoice from Preston's Petals as settled in the system. When Tracy fails to show up at the hotel with the flowers for an upcoming function, she explains she hasn't received any money, leading Carl to tell Ronnie that Debbie claimed she'd already paid, despite there being zero evidence of the transaction. Carl smoothly reassures Tracy that the missing payment is just a simple mistake and promises he'll handle it. Tracy is livid, while Debbie, crushed by the situation, admits through tears to Ronnie that she feels like her symptoms are deteriorating. Ronnie softly asks whether it might be time for her to take a break from the job. Later in the week, Carl strengthens his control by altering the password to the financial system and refusing to share it with Ryan, pointedly reminding him that Debbie supposedly put him in charge of the accounts. Meanwhile, Debbie's anxiety spikes when an email comes through confirming she's scheduled to deliver a speech at an event the following day.
No days, Fizz makes her escape.
At number 9, Fizz is completely worn down after everything that's happened in recent weeks. Already juggling the extra load since Tyrone was left using a wheelchair after the hit and run, the constant clashes between Hope and Ruby have pushed her close to her limit. Feeling crushed by guilt, Fizz confides in Tyrone next week that her mum Scylla needs surgery and has no one else to look after her. Tyrone encourages her to go, promising he'll manage absolutely fine on his own for a short while. Later, Tyrone pops into the cab office to arrange transport to his physio appointment, only for Cassie to rip off her headset and insist she'll drive him herself, ditching her new job on the switchboard without hesitation. Later in the week, when Chesney arrives at the hotel with a pizza order for Debbie's dementia choir, he's shocked to spot Fizz behind the reception desk. As he challenges his sister about her story claiming she'd been staying with Scylla, what explanation will Fizz come up with?
No 7. Summer collapses whilst visiting Asha.
Meanwhile, Dev brightens up when he reveals that his daughter Asha has asked him to visit her at the mental health facility. After an honest, emotional conversation with a stranger named Maggie, Asha sought support when she realized her mental health was dipping again, just weeks after her previous suicide attempt. During Dev's visit, Asha quietly tells him she feels prepared to return home. She knows her family will rally around her, but admits she's scared. None of her friends have reached out, and the silence is beginning to overwhelm her. Back on the street, Dev heads straight to the cafe to confront Summer, Nina, and Amy, accusing them of abandoning Asha when she needed them most. He bluntly tells them that their absence has left Asha questioning whether she even wants to come home, or if she'll be accepted when she does. Later in the week, Nina and Amy make their way to the unit to apologize, bringing Asha a personalized jigsaw featuring their whole friend group. They tell her Summer is caught up with university work but plans to visit later, and although Asha smiles politely, her disappointment is unmistakable. When a panicked Summer finally appears, she barely makes it through the doorway before collapsing on the floor. Is Summer all right? Coronation Street broadcasts on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 8 p.m. on ITV1 and is available to stream on ITVX and YouTube.